Welcome to the Bella Vista Gardening Program. I'm Jerry Horner, and today with me I have several guests. I have Marilyn Russell, and Marilyn is a fellow member of the Bella Vista Garden Club. And we have Jordan Slater. She's a recipient of the Dorothy Wallace Scholarship from our garden club this year. And Corrin Troutman, who is the executive director of the Peel Compton Foundation. And she's also a member of the Bentonville Garden Club. So we have some good garden club representatives here. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of and the power of horticulture scholarships. And they're so important to the students in college now with the costs going off the wall. So it's really important that we support our horticulture students. They're our future, actually. So, and we're going to be talking about what the upcoming events for the month and also what to do in your garden for the month of August. Although it's not much, but we still have to attend our gardens in the heat. So the upcoming events, the Benton County Fair is going to be held from August 8th, Tuesday, August 8th until Saturday, August 12th. And this year the entry is free for everyone. That's a new thing, and we're not charging for entry to the fair. So they're hoping to increase their patronage there. And the Master Gardeners will have a booth inside the fair, and then they'll also have their outside area with instructions and people attending it if you have any questions or whatever. So we have two different areas there, and I think they're also doing the judging of the floral and the vegetables and doing that judging also. So they're very involved in the fair. And that's where you can sign up to be a Master Gardener. If you'd like to put your application in, you can sign up there. And they're having a little different training this year. They're having what they call a Zoom training. It's statewide, and it's going to be on Wednesdays from 8 to 4, starting Wednesday, October 18th to Wednesday, November 15th. So this is a new program they're doing statewide. Then also they'll have their classes in January. If you can do the January classes to be a Master Gardener, you can sign up for that. So that's all, you can sign up there at the fair. So, but today we need to talk about scholarships because they are so important. And the Bella Vista Garden Club has been issuing scholarships as long as I've been in. I think since we even started 45 years ago. So I don't know the history of it all, but Marilyn has been on the board for the committee for scholarships for a number of years.
True.
And she has been very helpful in finding us recipients. So can you give us a little background on the scholarships from the Garden Club?
Yes, I can. Dorothy Wallace was an accomplished longtime member of the Bella Vista Garden Club who shared her extraordinary talents with many groups. She was a rosarian who had 70 roses in her garden. She was a master flower show judge for many years, and she trained others to be judges too. Dorothy supported our flower shows as a way to stimulate interest in gardening. She was a member of the Floralia Arrangers Guild, where she encouraged many creative facets of arranging flowers for everything from bridal bouquets to elaborate showpieces. After many years of her membership, in 2002, the Bella Vista Garden Club named our scholarship award in her honor. We want our recipients to have the same enthusiasm for their field that Dorothy had. To find our recipients, we work with the Horticulture Department at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, Northwest Arkansas Community College, Bentonville, and Gravette High Schools. Students are eligible to apply if they have career goals in fields as varied as landscaping, water conservation, ways to prevent soil erosion and improve the quality of the soil, lab research in developing new, stronger vegetables and fruits, drought and pest-resistant crops, sustainable forests, almost any ecological pursuit, and working with third world countries to improve their water, soil, crops, and health. We also look for community involvement, and several of our recipients have initiated or been involved in inner city community vegetable gardens. And there's one also in Fayetteville. A popular area of study now for male students is turf, the goal being to improve grasses in ballparks and golf courses around the world.
Well, we may be able to get some of them in Bella Vista, working on our golf courses.
Well, it turns
Hopefully.
out they like to spend their summer internship programs in ballparks
Oh, I see.
and on golf courses, and are getting an early start on their career to have an exciting time visiting all the places around the world where they can improve golf courses.
Yeah.
Our members work hard to raise scholarship money. We raised $5,000 this year. Jordan
is-
Slater was awarded $3,000, and Georgina Carrico was awarded $2,000. Both are students at the University of Arkansas. We hold a spring and fall plant sale out at the wastewater plant off of Highway 71 in Bella Vista. We have an annual card party for roughly 150 people, and it'll be held at the Bella Vista Community Church this year.
That's in March, I think.
Yes, it is in March, and we
Third
usually kind
Friday.
of tie it in with St. Patrick's Day. And this past year, in 2016, we had a spring garden party at the Scottsdale Golf Course, which had over 800 guests, which exceeded all goals. We ran out of tickets.
Yes,
We
we ran
eventually
out of
ran out of
everything.
food. We ran out of everything, wine, and people had a wonderful time.
And then can't wait for another one.
And they can't wait for the other one, and we're planning another one for June of 2018.
You have to keep posted for that one.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And now you'll see what an accomplished recipient we have for 2017 in Jordan.
Jordan, she
Thank
is
you.
just our new recipient, one of our new recipients, and I'm just so excited that we can give out all this scholarship money because it's desperately needed.
Very much so,
Yes.
and I am very grateful. And I really appreciate it.
So can you give us a little history of your horticulture background or what got you interested in horticulture?
Definitely. So I've always had an interest in the outdoors and nature. My grandmother and my mother are both avid gardeners. So when I chose to go back to school after being in the workforce for a few years, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to go into a field that could make a difference. And I went to NWAC and had some great professors there that really encouraged me and kind of pointed me in the right direction, and I found horticulture, and I'm just fascinated by plants and sharing knowledge. It's very important to me. I know that's where I want my career to go.
So you're
And-
thinking about maybe going into teaching?
Potentially,
Could be.
yes. Or
Okay.
owning my own business and consulting homeowners on sustainable ways to
Well, there's so many
their
venues right
landscape.
now, so many ways you can go. So
definitely
it's a lot of
permaculture, edible
choices.
landscaping, using native plants. Because my internship is at Compton Gardens this summer, and that's been a wonderful
That
experience.
sounds like
I
an
have
exciting experience.
It
I'd
has
love to
been-
do that.
It's been wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. I've been following, kind of shadowing almost Marilyn Russell, who is the site manager, and we've gone over propagation and just management. It's run the gamut. It's been a great experience.
Well, it's got to be unusual to work with mostly native plants because it's unusual for a garden to have just mainly native plants like Compton Gardens.
It is.
Now, have you worked at Peel at all? Peel Gardens?
I have not.
Not just at
Compton.
So Compton's a true gem to have all those native plants, on display. And we're all kind of heading or trying to head towards native plants.
Yes.
To keep the fauna,
Yes.
native. So
Yes, because the habitat is kind
now, how long is your internship?
Friday will actually be my last
Oh.
day. Yes, it's been all summer. It's
That's
been
wonderful.
great.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just so glad you're a recipient.
Me too. Thank you.
Just looking forward to seeing what you do in the future. You have to keep in touch with us.
I definitely will.
Yes. And Corrin Troutman, you are the executive director of Peel Compton,
That's right.
and you kind of run both places. And but I think your heart's in Compton, right?
Well, as you said, I have the unique job and honor to care for both of these very special places. And my heart is at Peel, but I tell everybody my soul is at Compton Gardens. And I've been with the foundation for 13 years and just love being there. And we are extremely thrilled to have Jordan as our intern this summer.
And she's been quite an asset, I've heard.
She has.
Well, thank you.
Very much.
Enthusiastic.
Very so.
But your history, I have to tell a little story on Corrin. I was at University of Arkansas luncheon for their scholarship recipients for the U of A, and Corrin was the keynote speaker, and she was telling the audience about how important a scholarship was to her, a garden club scholarship was to her, and there wasn't a dry eye in the place when she finished. So maybe you can kind of fill us in on that little story.
I would love to. So I'm in the unique position that I sit as the chair for the Bentonville Garden Club Scholarship. So it's my way of giving back, because whenever I was at the University of Arkansas and just starting out, trying to figure out how many jobs that I was going to have to hold in order to pay for college, my professors encouraged me, and my high school counselors encouraged me too, to apply for as many scholarships as I could. And I was there, and I was active in applying for them, and I was just hoping beyond hope, because for me it meant the difference of being able to attend college or having to wait a year. And I received the Bentonville Garden Club Scholarship, and that was the scholarship that actually allowed me to be able to attend the University of Arkansas and set me on the path for this wonderful career that I have now in horticulture. And as you said, the cost of college is skyrocketing.
Right.
Students have more need financially than they ever have before. And scholarships can very much be the make or break as to whether even a student goes to college, whether they continue in college, or whether they graduate from college. And so it's extremely important to be aware of scholarships, to help students know that the scholarships are out there. And as you ladies had talked about, putting all this work towards raising money to go back to scholarships. And because of my position with the Bentonville Garden Club, I feel like I'm able to pay that back of having somebody believe in my dream, to give me that money to fulfill my dream, and now I'm able to give that to other students as well, and it's just exciting.
Can you share that little story about going to the mailbox to get your letter?
Absolutely. So I grew up in West Fork, out on 100 acres, and I was very, very fortunate to have a grandfather who was a retired school teacher who was extremely patient, and his passion was horticulture as well. And from the time I could walk, I followed my grandfather around, and he was very kind and taught me about native plants, taught me about gardening, instilled that passion in me. And he passed away before I was able to graduate from high school. And as I said, I had applied for scholarships. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to wait. And every day I would go to check the mail, and I'd have to walk down my long driveway to go check the mail. And I'm a very patient person, but I was really anxious to hear whether or not I was going to receive it. And I very distinctly remember the day of walking down that driveway, collecting the mail, and there being a letter from the University of Arkansas, and being very excited to open it, because I already knew that I was accepted to the program. And when I opened it and I read it, and I had received the news that I had received the Bentonville Garden Club Scholarship, I was elated, because that meant that I was going to be able to go to college. And I ran back up the driveway as fast as I could to be able to tell my family, my mother and my father, that I had received the scholarship and that I was getting to attend college in the fall.
It's just amazing how pivotal a scholarship can be like that. And I remember talking to Scott Eccleston at a garden club luncheon while they were building Crystal Bridges, and he is the director of operations or whatever at Crystal Bridges. He's in charge of everything. And he related a story to me too, that when he was just starting college, or getting into the field of horticulture in college, that he received a garden club scholarship. I don't know what garden club it was. It could have been in Oklahoma, because there's scholarships from garden clubs all over. And he said that scholarship allowed him to continue. Otherwise, he may have been digging ditches somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
and can imagine the loss of his talents at Crystal Bridges would have just changed the world for us in this Northwest Arkansas area. So the importance of scholarships is just so, so keen, and people just don't realize how important they are to these students
As a-
at a pivotal point in their lives.
As a recipient of a scholarship, for me, it meant somebody believed in my dream just as much as I believed in my dream too. And to have somebody that never even knew me, never even met me, but read my resume and my application, to really believe in the things that I believed in and say, you can achieve this. It was that push to say, yes, I can do that. And that support just means the world to students.
Right. And there are so many scholarships out there, but like Jordan was saying, it's hard to even know where to go. The offices, they call them the funding office, or who handles the scholarships at U of A?
Shannon Mason.
Janet Mason.
In the Hort
Shannon.
Or like
department,
the
she does
financial
a lot of it.
aid office, something like that. Because there's just so many scholarships that are out there, and if you don't know how to get them or where to go to get them, it's a maze. It takes a lot of time and effort to even find them. Now, in addition to the Bella Vista Garden Club scholarships, there's other garden clubs in the state that give scholarships, and also, since we're affiliated with the Arkansas Federation of Gardens, garden clubs, they give scholarships also, and the Arkansas Federation is part of the National Garden Club organization, and then there's a regional section. So there's like 3 different areas of the National Garden Club that you can apply for scholarships. Now, everything is listed for these scholarships on the NGC website, and that is www.gardenclub.org/scholarships, and it lists all the requirements. It has the application. There's an AFGC scholarship that is around $2,000. That's for the state. Then if you win the state, you go on to the regional, and the regional is usually $1,000. It's every other year. Excuse me, these allergies are driving me crazy. Horticulture is getting me a bad way. Anyway, the regional gives the scholarship $1,000 every other year when the new director is appointed, and then the national scholarship is $4,000, up to $4,000. So if you win all those scholarships, that can make a big difference in your education. So we did have a local winner several years ago. Billy Toll won the AFGC, the SCR, and the National Scholarship, and I was, he's from Bella Vista, and I had the honor of presenting his certificate to him, and he was just a delightful young man, and he's a landscape architect now, so he won over $7,000 in these scholarships he was awarded, and it does make a pivotal difference in your education. So, and there have been other AFGC winners that I know of. Is Joseph O'Neill. He was president of the U of A Heart Club several years ago, so I know he won the AFGC scholarship. So everything on that, those scholarships is on that one website. So you just have to go there and read all the information. It's just, there's a lot of regulations or rules. They give the scholarship to a junior or a senior, knowing that by that time you finally figure out what you want to do with your life, rather than a junior or a freshman. That could change. So they do emphasize the juniors and seniors, but you can apply if you're a sophomore for your junior year. So they, if you've already made that commitment, you know what you want to do and be in horticulture, you can apply for that scholarship. And the funds are sent directly to the college's financial aid offices, and they disperse it to the student, whether they need it for tuition or books or whatever the need is. So those scholarships are really important. And I'm really hoping with our garden party coming up that we'll be able to increase our scholarships this coming year. I would just love to give thousands and thousands of dollars away in scholarships. It's my heart with the garden club, so I just love scholarships. But now I'd like to know, when you were working at Compton, what was your first impression when you went into that garden
My first impression of it.
of, all those native plants? Did that bring back a lot of things with your family, what they were growing? And
Well, actually, it was quite different than anything else because it's very unique and only working with native plants. It presents more obstacles, I'd say. It's a little more difficult because you are limited, and then you have your specific requirements that they all need.
so it's quite a learning experience. Every time
Very
I go,
much so.
well, as a gardener,
see something
learn
new every day. That's
every
kind
day
of the
you
beauty
learn.
of it, too. I love it.
You learn every day.
It's very dynamic.
Yeah. So, well, it's just been wonderful to hear all these stories about scholarships and trying to find the students, and then what the students are doing with their scholarships. And so it's just a great situation to be able to give scholarships. So, and then I also want to talk about what to do in your garden in August. I know August is a month where it's mainly just hot, and you want to just all you have to do is water and deadhead and collect seeds, basically. It's just not a good gardening month with all that heat. And we have had some rain, I guess June, July. It's kind of slowed down a little bit lately, so we may have a drought in August like we usually do. So you have to just watch for your water. And some of your annuals may have seen better days. They may have gotten leggy and kind of not looking too good. So maybe pinch those back and cut them back a little bit. And what are you doing in your gardens for August, basically, at Compton and Peel?
Well, as you said, Compton and Peel in August, we suffer just like everybody else does with the drought. The nice thing about Compton, though, is we do display native plants. So they're a little bit more versatile in being able to take this hot and dry climate. There is still a lot of maintenance that we do, so I would recommend, if you don't want to work in your garden, you can come to our gardens and walk around and enjoy them.
You made them beautiful for all the visitors, that's for sure. Okay, so, but if you just have some annuals that just don't look good, you may have to just take them out and replace. There's still some annuals available at the nurseries if you want some, color in your garden. And but the herbs are really in full bloom right now, in full season. They shouldn't be blooming. If you have blooms on your herbs, you should deadhead them, because that just takes away from their ability to put on new leaves. So you might try flavoring your vinegar and your oils with your basil. Or you can dry and freeze your herbs. So just harvest your herbs and use them for the month of August. So, and then perennials. Are there very many? You don't have mums at Compton, do you? There's no native mums, although mums are starting to bloom now. I don't know of any native mums.
There's not any native mums.
They're all imported. Okay, so the mums are going to be blooming. But what are they doing with the perennials now? Is it just deadheading and collecting?
Deadheading and collecting seeds.
So then you collect the seeds for the plant sale? You put them in the greenhouse for the plant
Yes,
sale?
so we'll collect them, and if we need to do any kind of scarification or anything, which most you don't, but yes, and we'll plant them up and plant sell, or plant them in the garden. Seed them out.
So you actually take the seeds and plant them in other sections of the garden. So you expand the garden with them.
Yes.
That's a good idea with your seeds.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very good. And then the lawns, of course, they just require at least 1 inch of water a week. And if it doesn't rain, you'll have to add that 1 inch. And just hold back on no fertilization right now. You don't want to encourage any more growth during August. And just raise your blades 2 or 3 inches for the month of August. If the grass is a little longer, it gives a little more shade, so it's better for them to conserve some water. So, and roses, we have had some varying reports of Japanese beetles. I haven't had very many at all, and I don't know if that's because I planted garlic, and I have marigolds all over the place around the roses, so I haven't had any, but to speak of, but you've had tons of them.
I have a horrendous infestation, and I have 3 beautiful rows of Sharon plants that are approximately 10 feet tall, and they're just thousands of Japanese beetles on them.
You just gotta
Grab the trunk and shake them, and it's just a cascade of Japanese beetles coming down.
That's a shame. That's
Yes,
really a shame.
it is.
Because they are
It's
so
terrible.
destructive. But as far as the roses go, it's probably the last month for feeding roses.
So it's definitely the last month for feeding roses. There are other things that you can do to get your roses prepped and ready for the winter time. If you have had the unfortunate incident to have disease on the roses, you want to go ahead and start removing the leaves that might have been diseased and putting them into burn piles. You also want to go ahead and give your roses the last feeding, start deadheading, and just make sure the overall health of the rose. Also start planning that pruning, even though you don't do the pruning until February. If you have a good game plan going in right now, it'll make pruning much easier in the winter.
Well, we were at the Master Gardener meeting, and Tony Lacazzi, our former Garden Club president, gave his tip. What he does every Sunday is go out in his garden, and he just takes cornmeal and sprinkles it around every rose. And cornmeal is a natural fungicide. So he hasn't had any problems with diseases because he does this every week. He just sprinkles that cornmeal around the rose. So we not only have native plants, but we encourage use of generic or non-toxic treatment. So that's another trick you can try on your roses if you have a disease problem. It might help it.
The cornmeal will kill ants as well. Tony
that's
told
good.
me that.
Oh, that's good.
I've had them in my Stella Doros, which is a very common plant,
Yeah.
and just sprinkle cornmeal just as you were describing it around them, and you'll kill them in a couple of days.
Oh, that's
They
Roses-
can't digest anything. So.
Roses also like potassium, so if you eat a lot of bananas, you can take the banana peels and put underneath the roses, and you can use your used coffee grounds as more fertilizer and put them around your roses
right.
too.
I always put my coffee grounds in the compost, so that kind of helps the compost. So all these little tricks, like I said, you learn every day. You're always learning when you're a gardener. And then trees and shrubs, we just have to be sure that they've got water if you've just planted them, mainly. And then watch for your any scale or bagworms. If you have bagworms on your shrubs, just take them off, just remove them, put them in a bucket, and just burn them. That's all you can do with those bagworms, because they're like a little brown crusty nest in there. So just take those off and get rid of them. You can't put them in the trash because then they'll just grow. So you just really have to kill them, unfortunately. And vegetables, so this is a time we're enjoying the vegetable crop, but there are some things for the fall planting. Are you planting fall vegetables yet, or?
So we're not
Just
planting
planning.
fall vegetables, we are planning. We are going to start putting some in the greenhouse, some seedlings in the greenhouse to get a jump start on it. Right now it's tricky, you really want to wait as long as you can for the end of the month before you start planting those cooler season crops to get them established. So items like broccoli or cauliflower or your cabbages, you can start from seed right now, but you really want to wait until the end of the month to put them out.
Or
in the garden.
September even, yeah, with the cool crops. And then you do spinach and lettuce at that time
Spinach
too?
and lettuce that time too. We've had more success with spinach and lettuce if you seed them directly into the garden instead of trying to transplant them. So that's when you really want to wait until September, mid-September to start that crop.
Yeah, depending on the weather. Yeah. Okay, and then webworms. I haven't seen too many webworms this year. Last year the webworms were just all over the trees everywhere, and everybody was so worried about webworms. And they were talking about spraying and all that, and I just haven't seen too many this year as yet, so maybe they're coming later. But if you do have webworms, you don't have to spray them. You don't have to cut the limb off. You can just open the bag and then let the wasps go and get the little worms out of there, so they'll feed on them. And if it's really tall in the tree, you can either take a big rake and open the bag, or if it's too high for that, you can take a hose with a real strong stream and open, just so that bag's open. And once that bag's open, the wasps will go in and take care of those worms. So, but they really don't kill the tree unless it's something that's a stressed tree and it's small and they engulf the whole tree. So they're not as bad as they look. So. Well, I just want to thank you for joining me today, and I wanted to let you know about the Bella Vista Garden Club. The new year is starting. Our next meeting will be September 28th, and it's at a new location. We're going to be at the Bella Vista Community Church. We're moving from the United Lutheran. So the community church is on Lancashire Boulevard, and we will be having our meeting starting at 11. And have a lunch, and we have a horticulture segment, we have a design segment, we have a program that's always interesting, and guests are always welcome. We love to have guests at our meetings and meet new people and get new members. That's always a good thing. And then for more information, you can go to the website, bellavistagardenclub.com. And it's got a lot of information on gardening and what's going on with our club, and there's a lot of links to a lot of different websites with information. So it's a great thing to sit in the cool of your house with the air conditioning and do some research on gardening with our website. So thank you, Marilyn and Corrin and Jordan, for joining me and telling your stories about scholarships. I just love it.
Well, and September also, we'll be introducing Jordan and Georgina to the membership of the Garden Club.
That's right. That's the program.
And they'll be receiving their checks at that meeting.
That's wonderful. Yes, they're going to be at our Garden Club meeting, and that's always a fun meeting to go to. So to see those young people just so involved in horticulture and learning the new techniques and new things coming up. So it's our future. So that's great. And then I hope you've enjoyed the show. And until next month, don't forget to stop and smell the roses.